There is a report saying June 12th, why I won't use the word sorry, IBB. He says, I have told Nigerians that, look, I accept full responsibility. It is bigger to accept responsibility. You should see the event beyond the narrow word sorry. How do you respond to this?
I wrote this morning in my column that IBB conned everybody, conned the media, conned political elite, conned everybody when they reported that IBB said, I regret. IBB never said, I regret. He never said that. He said that the nation is entitled to expect an impression of my regret. He used Maradona for you people. That guy deserves the Nobel Prize for his manipulation of language. He never said, I regret. People thought that he said, I regret, and that he was sorry, the one you are doing, and that he apologized. IBB has never changed his opinion since 32 years ago. And one way or the other, he has used the razzmatazz of language to manipulate our own credulity, that we are now accepted that the man said, I regretted. He didn't say so. Editors should be careful when they cast headlines, when they read language. He never said, I'm sorry. He never, you see, when you regret, it means that you are remorseful.
Right.
He was not remorseful. And you have to be remorseful in order to apologize.
Right.
He never did any of that. It's not, the only thing he did was actually anodyne. He said, Abiola won the election. That's the only thing we have been able to get from him.
And he pointed accusing fingers at the late
Abacha. Yes.
Abacha Sani.
Yes, he said it was Abacha. If you read the book, I forgot to bring my copy of the book. If you read the book, he blamed everybody except himself. But he said I took responsibility.
He said he took responsibility.
So is that even
accepted?
possible in a military situation where we understand that respect for hierarchy is sacrosanct?
He's the commander-in-chief. Everything stops at your table. A man who came into the AFRC one day and they dissolved it, said, I don't have control over what is going on. Everything about the transition program of IBB was a reflection of IBB's personality. So to say that he did not, that he want to blame Abacha, Abacha himself showed that he didn't like June 12th. He didn't like it for sure. Right. Because when he took over from the ING, he had a meeting with Abiola and everybody, but he still didn't.
Right.
He didn't give Abiola the mandate. So that's why Abiola, after some people joined the government, Jakonde, Onogoruwa and co, when they joined the government, they thought that we were going to segue the state into accepting Abiola's mandate. But what Abacha did was to dig in. So he was trying to exploit that fact to say that Abacha people did it. He said that, was he afraid of Abacha? He said he was not afraid of Abacha, but he was only thinking of his own safety. Some people think there's contradiction there. There's no contradiction there. You are not, you are afraid of, you don't want the soldier at the other side to kill you, but you want to be safe.
You want to be safe.
Yes, exactly.
Right, so now, quoting from Babangida's book, he said, my decision was a bitter pill to swallow, but necessary to prevent a collapse of the federation. And I'm actually heading somewhere. If you recall that in 1993, you were very much alive then and very active. So it occurred amid regional tensions, struggling economy, which was even above 30% or about, and fears of military fragmentation. So if you're now given this fragile state of Nigeria during this time, do you not agree with some apologists who said that, who framed IBB's annulment as temporary sacrifice rather to avoid a deeper crisis?
That's the thing about IBB. IBB created the tension and then he blamed the tension. That's what he did. When the election ended that day, everybody was waiting for the announcement of the result. Day 1, there was nothing. Day 2, there was nothing. Day 3, there was nothing, and we were all waiting. I was in Abuja. I was head of Concord office in Abuja. And I was seated on my desk, When Mohammed Adamu, our Villa correspondent, came to me, he came with a scrap of paper, almost like that paper you had, almost like that. He just brought it. I said, what is this? There was no signature, no letterhead, no insignia of state. There was nothing like that. And I said, what is this? He said, Nduka Irabo gave it to all of us. And I read it. It didn't say they dissolved June 12, just said everything about the transition, everything had been dissolved. So I called the editor in Lagos. And when he heard it, he said, please call the editor-in-chief, that's Abiola's wife. So I called her, I read it to her. I said, what does it mean? Because she was actually already angry, as if she didn't understand what I read to her. I said, well, it means that the election has been annulled, and she was blaming the messenger, blaming me that you should have known this before. I would like to know. Now, what's going on is that in the book, IBB said that Ikomo did not know about it. Yet his chief press secretary was the one that handed it over to us. So I tried to call Nduka Irabo, who was the chief press secretary. Is that true? I couldn't reach him. But Nduka Irabo should come and tell us, did Ikomo, your boss, know about this paper? And why did you hand it over to the media? Why did you hand it over to the media without the knowledge of your boss? Or was IBB lying in that?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's a quick one.
IBB didn't take responsibility for everything. ABN, Association for Better Nigeria by Arthur Nzeribe, was all over the place. IBB said the thing just happened. They didn't know anything about it. So they didn't want anybody to think that they were trying to stop them. What kind of statement is that? And you went after Tel magazine, you went after CD, you went after CDHR, you went after CLO. For goodness sake, they went after me. There were 2 cars. Olu Akerele was the one that even told me. I didn't know. Olu Akerele was the real first aide to MK Abiola. Was the one who told me that, look, there are 2 cars following you, a Jetta and a 505. Because then I knew. I'd not even had accommodation there. So the wife, there was one day we were coming from the Nikon. They used to call it Nikon that time, the Hilton, Nikon Noga Hilton at that time. Went for a night out with the host of the family. The women, they know things. So one of the cars was following us. I didn't want them to know. I didn't want them to be hassled where I was staying, that something was going on. But the wife, by the time we got to the compound, the car just zoomed up. Boom. The wife said, this car has been following us since the time we left. I said, really? But I pretended I didn't know, but I knew. Yeah. But I knew. You know, that is how the tension they created.
How did you escape? Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Well, that time there was no fuel. There was no fuel. There was fuel scarcity, and I had to go to the government because they had already banned my newspaper at Concord. So what happened? I didn't tell anybody I was traveling. I went to buy a jerry can. I filled my car. Then I had an extra one. That's how we moved around that time. Put it in the trunk of the car, the boot of the car. By 4 a.m., I told my host, I'm going to Lagos. So I got into the car and zoomed off. So before my interlopers, before they knew where I was, I had already left town.
Interesting stuff. Right.
Interesting. So,